On May 7th, we'll be finishing the season with 3 works by 3 French composers. And these are 3 of my absolute favorite pieces. The first is Debussy's Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun. Now, there's a few things about this work I always like to explain. First of all, it is one of the most significant pieces in the entire history of music. The reason for this is, instead of building the piece upon our traditional scale with those kind of chords that go like that, normal sounding things, Debussy based this piece upon the interval of what we call the tritone. Okay? Now, I won't explain now what is so special about the tritone, except know that back in olden times they used to call it the devil's interval because it's so suspicious. Well, here's how the piece begins, with a solo flute. Just outlining that tritone with some wonderful notes in between. Wonderful, murky sorts of colors and harmonies and flutes and harps and antique cymbals and all the rest, providing us with that wonderful atmosphere for that Afternoon of a Faun. Now, the next work on the program is going to be a work by the French composer Francis Poulenc, and this work is his Gloria. Now, this is the most irreverent religious piece of music that I know, and perhaps that's why I love it so much. This work sort of combines a little bit of the cathedral with a whole lot of the Moulin Rouge. Now, to start, he gives us something which indeed does sound like we're going to hear a very important and almost pompous work. That's, however, not such of a preparation for what's going to come later on. Now, I told you Moulin Rouge and the concert hall, or Moulin Rouge and the church. Well, here's a little bit of the Moulin Rouge that I'm talking about. I mean, just plain fun. That's certainly nothing that you're used to hearing in a serious religious mass. One of the moments that I really particularly enjoy in this work is one of the solos for the soprano. It's the Domine Deus movement, and the orchestral introduction to it is incredible. Have a listen. You see, Poulenc was a member of a group of French composers called the Six. And these French composers, they wanted to get away from all of that serious German stuff and make the music more accessible, provide some modern jazz harmonies, as well as just, well, really good tunes you can listen to. And this piece has many of them. Now, the final work on the program is Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique. This is an absolute milestone in the history of music. It was one of these first works. Beethoven had his Pastoral Symphony, which sort of had a story to go along with it. His Ninth Symphony, which has a message sung by the chorus. But this Symphonie Fantastique by Berlioz is the first one with a real plot, blow by blow kind of work. The story has to do with a lovesick artist, perhaps this is why I love it so much, who is so upset that his beloved has left him that he's taken poison in order to kill himself. Very dramatic and melodramatic. Well, the thing is that this poison doesn't kill him, it just kind of makes him a little bit insane. And he has crazy nightmares. And the beginning of the piece really shows us his insanity, if you will. It's called Visions and Passions. And the music goes around with all sorts of vision and passionate-y sort of things until we get to the main melody of the work. And this melody is associated with his beloved. It is her theme. Berlioz even sort of coined the phrase idée fixe, a fixed idea to go along with this theme. And here is her theme. Okay, so that's a theme. Now, just as an example of what a genius Berlioz was, imagine we have our lovesick artist who has taken poison, is in a delirium, is imagining his girlfriend, his heart's beating a little bit sort of erratically, and Berlioz gives us as the accompaniment, the background for that melody, a sort of a heart coming in at strange places. Have a listen. You hear what I mean? Well, this theme, this idée fixe, comes in each movement, and each movement tells a story. The second movement is the scene at the ball, and of course it's a ball, so we have a waltz. And who should appear at the ball? Well, you guessed it, of course, his beloved. Just have a listen. She's haunting him everywhere he goes. He goes into the country. Where is she? She's there. He has a nightmare where he imagines that he's killed her and is going to be sentenced to death at the scaffold. And who's at the scaffold right at the very last moment? His beloved. Then, after he's killed, because he killed her, he's sent to hell. And who does he find there? 1,000 versions of his beloved, all as witches burning him to death. Well, this is the fun of Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique. Join us on May 7th for the last concert of the Springfield Symphony concert season.